Applying to college sucks. I was miserable through a big part of the process, but by the end, I actually enjoyed it. So I'm going to show you my favorite way to not end up in the same place as I did and actually enjoy the process too. And the best part is that this doesn't only make you feel better, it actually makes your application stronger. So let me tell you a story. When I decided to apply to college and go all in 2022, I wanted to build a big project that would set me apart from all of my competition. So I ended up building a nonprofit website where you could actually organize your times and your habits and have everything organized right there in one place. And I gave some speeches and ended up having a couple hundred members inside of that website. And it was, on paper, a pretty successful project. And I thought that it was going to be the most insane thing ever for the college admissions officers. Like, wow, this student really did something for free. Like, he's a leader, he's this, he's that. So I was really confident. And I applied to 20 colleges. And a lot of them were selective, not all of them, but a lot of them. And I got rejected from literally every single one of the colleges I applied to. And it was a terrible feeling. I felt miserable. Like I had worked for years on this project and a couple of other stuff, but for years on this specifically for colleges, and they didn't appreciate it. Like, what? So that made me rethink what I even wanted to do with my life. I actually ended up switching majors. I was gonna study neuroscience, and now I'm studying economics. And I rethought everything and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop bullshitting and actually do something that I want to do. So I started a business and just work on this business. I really liked it and just focus on that one thing. And I got accepted on 2024 to more than half of the colleges that I applied to. And some of them were pretty selective. The point of this story is that I remember in 2022 and 2023 being so desperate for college admissions that I was willing to do everything. So much so that I literally sent an email to the president of my country just so they can send that letter of recommendation to the colleges. I'm not kidding. And that desperation really, really spirals you to a place that you don't want to be in. So let me tell you a crazy statistic. About 25% of all college applicants seek therapy after the process. Isn't that insane? A quarter of all applicants. That means that something is messed up inside of the process or something is making students miserable, right? It could be for a bunch of reasons. Maybe because college tuitions are literally insane. There's no reason why you should pay $100K a year for college. It could also be really toxic places and communities. For example, the applying to college subreddit can end up being really toxic, not necessarily because of the people. Some of them are, absolutely. But it's really because you end up comparing yourself to all these other people that are nowhere near the average. And they are all obsessed, and that can really mess you up. It could also be from other stuff that's just unfair, like maybe a person that's more wealthy will get more chances. It could be that legacy students just have an advantage that's way too big. It could be that you are not first generation and that's maybe the reason why you don't get into your dream college. Who knows? But that type of overthinking really messes you up, and it really does. It really does, because you never know. And then when you get rejected, you blame all of this stuff that is out of your control, and that's really bad. So at this point, you may ask yourself, like, is it even worth it to aim this high? To aim to these colleges, to aim for Harvard, to aim for the top 10? Well, in my opinion, yes it is. But if you're gonna sacrifice all of your high school years and suffer just for a chance at these colleges that you may not even get in, then no, it's not worth it. But it is worth it if you do it properly. So there's so much bullshit out there and so much stuff and fluff that people tell you that just doesn't work, that I'm gonna tell you the one thing, and it's not a sexy answer you probably wanna hear, but I'm going to tell you the only real one thing that truly works, and it's going to make you enjoy the process and actually give you a better chance at these colleges that you want to get into. It's really like that. So that thing is, go deep into your passions and be the best at being yourself. A lot of people will tell you this. You've probably already heard it before, but nobody really explains how to do it and what it means. So I'm going to explain that to you. First of all, you got to understand that you are unique, right? You're different than everybody else. Even if you don't believe it, everyone has different things they're interested on. They came from different backgrounds. Literally everyone is different and irreplaceable. And that's just a fact, right? You gotta understand that. And because of that, everyone has specific knowledge. Everyone knows different stuff and has passions in different things. So for example, let's say your passion is guitar, cats, code, like coding, and maybe business. Why not, right? These things may seem really random, but that's you. Those are the things you are interested on. And you may not be the best guitar player the best cat expert, the best coder, the best business person. But if you combine this stuff, it literally makes you. Those are your unique traits, right? So I'm gonna give you a more specific example of someone that you may recognize that really, really went deep into this. So that person is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan isn't necessarily the best MMA guy or commentator, not necessarily. He isn't the best podcaster, not necessarily. And he isn't like the best, bear expert, right? He likes bears, but he's not necessarily the expert. With these make Joe Rogan. That's his personality, that's his brand. The thing is, even if he's not the best at any of these necessarily, that's what makes him Joe Rogan. And he is the biggest podcaster in the world, not because he's necessarily the best, but because he is someone's favorite. He has an audience. And being the favorite is better than being the best for college admissions. You have to be the favorite applicant to your admissions officer. You have to connect with them. You have to make sense. You have to build a relationship through your application. That's what makes you stand out. If they read thousands of applications every single day, they don't care about the other student that has all these clubs and all this random stuff and just a checklist. They don't care about that. They want to connect with the student. If you see a lot of interviews, a lot of people, they accept students that are like them, that they can really connect with. And that's what you have to look for. You have to be the favorite applicant. And you do that by truly taking advantage of your unique skills, even though you're not the best at them. Obviously, you have to work towards them and build them as much as possible. But you don't have to be the best. That's why essays are so important. That's why they even ask questions and make you write essays, is to understand and connect with you. And these are the things you gotta do. And what's ironic is that when you don't do these things, you think you're gonna have a better chance because you're doing what admissions officers supposedly look for. But this is what they look for. They look for you. They want to see you, the true you, not the one that wants to appeal to a college admissions office. They want to see you. And also, being you will make you enjoy the process. So when building yourself, you might notice that at some points your interests may change, you may change, you may be looking for other stuff. Life changes, you evolve, especially in high school. So what you should do to be the best at what you do and the best at being yourself, you have to continue redefining who you are. So if you suddenly begin liking planes and you want to work on an airline or whatever, go do it and then connect it to the rest of yourself. Bring it back. Connect it with music, the music in airplanes. You wanted to change that. You were interested, whatever. Whatever it is, really, whatever it is. You have to connect your interests and grow in a way that still makes you you. And you are still going to be you. You're just evolving. And that's why you got to keep redefining yourself to be the best at what you do. You have to be the best at your combination of skills. So when you evolve and you adapt this, the college admissions office will know. They can read that you are real. They will notice. How won't they notice if they read so many applications every single time and they just instinctively know who they should accept? Don't be a checklist robot. Don't do all this random stuff just because it will look good on your application. Don't. The things that look best is when you work hard, yes, really hard, but on something that truly is natural to you. And look, maybe you think you don't have a big passion. Maybe you think you're not good enough for this. And that's probably wrong. But let's say you don't have a passion. Let's say you have to build one. You have to create something that's worth it for college applications. Let's say, if you look back on your life, you will notice that most of your passions are things that you have built during your life, things that you've grown on, things that you put work on. Those are your passions. And from that, things may stem out. This means that you can create passions. So let me tell you a story. When I was in middle school and even high school, I wasn't really good at soccer. And being from Chile, where soccer is huge and a huge sport, I was really left apart by my friends and other people because I just couldn't get into the activities they liked. And I was terrible. It was really terrible. Like I was that guy that they picked last on the team. Like that was me. And that made me realize that, well, maybe I could give it a shot, right? So I just ended up playing with them anyways. I voluntarily went to the games. They invited me because they still invited like everyone. I just went there and tried and played and really tried to grow. Even if I hated it, I was really bad. I hated it. I suffered, but eventually I started getting better. I received a couple of compliments like, bro, you're getting better. And I noticed like, yeah, I am getting better. And so much so that I actually started enjoying the sport. I kind of became a little bit passionate about it. That's what you gotta achieve. If you feel like you don't have a passion, do that. Try everything. Try things that may sound good on your application. Try them. Try them. If you don't like it, drop it next. If you do like it, go deep. Think about these things because that's what's gonna get you there. So my biggest tip, the one thing you should take away from this is from all your passion, from all your stuff, pick one thing you will enjoy working on really hard. Pick one and go really deep. You also might have heard this. You have to create a spike. This is what it means. Something you really like doing, maybe something that was an interest to you when you were a child, go deep into that. And you can talk about your interest as a child in your essays. And they will know that this is your passion that you've always had. And you recently, because you wanted to work on yourself, went deep on that. Like literally, for me, I realized I wanted to study economics through this process. When I was a little kid, I had a business in school where I literally sold Chinese phones that could only play Snake, and I wrote my essay about this. I just sold phones in school where you could only play Snake to my friends, and I built a business when I was like 10 years old. And I noticed like, wow, I really have had this interest forever. That's what you should do. Whatever it is, whatever. Go deep into that. That's the best tip I can give you. And focus beats doing everything. Just imagine for 1 second, all of your problems disappear except one, and you have to fight just to solve that one problem. All of your energy is focused on one problem. If that's your case, wouldn't solving that problem be really easy? Or way easier than it is right now? That's what you gotta do. You have all this clutter, all of these things that you should do, when in reality, only doing one or focusing on one at a time will beat anything. And if you wanna go with one project really deep, you're gonna really make it. But if you try to do 5 at the same time, you won't. Because you won't have the time and you won't have the mental clarity to do it. So there's still a wrong way to push it, because at this point, you may be thinking like, okay, I'm still willing to literally do anything for these colleges. That's my main goal. My passion is getting into college. So I'm literally gonna create a new sport so I can be recruited, and I'm gonna change my name to match the founders and say that this was a match made in heaven, or I will cure cancer twice, or whatever. You may be thinking this, and it's actually a pretty good way to think in some ways, because having that passion, that ambition is really good, and it's gonna push you really forward. But this can be really toxic, and it actually is pretty toxic. If you think that no obstacle is enough, at some point you'll notice that you cannot take it anymore. You'll get stuck because you won't have time to really work on anything with everything you got. And that's what you should be doing. And that's good mentality to have, that, okay, you're willing to do anything for getting into college. If you're willing to do anything, you're really willing to do anything, then work on yourself, on what you really want out of life. And look, worst case scenario, you work your ass off, you really work your ass off, you got rejected from your dream college, but if you did it in something you really love, you didn't waste any time. Because you were still gonna do it anyway. You were still gonna build the business anyway. You were still gonna keep practicing the sport anyway. You were still gonna program and code anyway. You were still gonna do it anyway. So do it now. And it's actually what's gonna help you more to get into these colleges, and you're gonna enjoy it. And you're not gonna waste your time if everything goes wrong, because in college admissions, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. Be careful. Really be careful. And yes, you will have to do stuff you don't want to do. That comes with work. Whatever it is, you'll still have to have discipline, work on things you don't want to do, still go to school even if you don't want to do it, still get good grades. It is important. But that's what it is. And if you're doing what you love, that's just a side problem. And I love the starter code, and it couldn't be more real for this specific case. You can commit no mistakes and still lose. That's not a weakness, that's life. And college admissions are the same. You can do everything right and still get rejected, because just the college wasn't looking for a student like you that year. You just can't know that. But if you shot your best shot and really did what you wanted, you didn't waste anything. You went all in. You gave it your all. And that's what really matters. And that's, again, what's really gonna make the best chance for you to getting in. So be delusional, aim high. You literally never know if you'll get in there, or you'll make your business grow as much as possible, or whatever, or achieve your goals. You never know. Just shoot your shot and be delusional. A lot of people will try to tell you not to be delusional and not to aim that high, to be realistic. Why? It's worse to regret not having applied in the first place than just thinking that because you're not worthy enough, you may as well not even apply. Why? Be delusional. Just make sure that what you work on makes you passionate, that you love it, and let me tell you for sure that you'll be shooting your best shot and doing your best.